All this week on To The Point, the ABC 10 Weather Impact Team is investigating California's power grid and how it is balancing cost, climate, and demand. Demand for electricity is expected to skyrocket with AI centers, car charging, and a lot more. So tonight, Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods begins this series looking at California's roots in power innovation.
And that's right. California continues to lead the world in energy technology, and the state has been innovating from the beginning, sending power over long-distance transmission lines since 1895, developing the first large-scale wind farm in the 1980s, and now global leaders in the solar industry, creating both opportunities but also financial strain on homeowners.
Everything just seems to get more and more expensive all the time.
And what friends we used to have don't live here anymore.
Lots of them have left.
Cindy and Paul Harman live in the Sierra Foothills, about an hour from Sacramento. They've spent the past 30 years here building memories, raising a family, renovating parts of their home, and finding hobbies in their retirement. Life out here demands resilience, especially when it comes to mounting power issues like safety shutdowns and soaring monthly bills.
Our electric bills before solar were $480, $500 a month.
Another power challenge comes from living in the wildland-urban interface, where high fire risk means the couple regularly endures shutdowns during dangerous weather.
To mitigate that,
we
we put in a Generac generator. And whenever the power goes off, it goes boom with just no break at all.
All connecting to a mini grid on their house.
That's a converter.
Okay.
And then it transmits over to the PG&E, and then that's the Generac.
A far cry from where it all began. In the 1800s, the gold rush era begins drawing out all sorts of industrialists. Horatio Gates Livermore arrives from the East Coast, hoping to make a fortune in lumber, setting up shop along the American River, using the water to power a sawmill. But as the project lingers and lumber demand lowers, the family pivots.
His kids take Dad's legacy and they convert it a little bit. They're already running all of this water through here, and instead of just running the sawmill, they said there's this newfangled technology over on the East Coast that we could maybe make electricity and really start to change people's lives here.
Sending power 22 miles downhill from Folsom, California to the state capitol for the first time in 1895.
So this is the brains of our operation. This is where an operator would stand and would watch over the speed of the generators, the amount of electricity they were producing, kind of watching to make sure that there wasn't feedback coming from Station A, or once there were other generators online, making sure that everything is running smoothly.
Proving electricity was a resource people could use.
Our plant here is the first 3-phase 60-cycle power plant. And for any engineers out there or anybody that's in the know, that's the kind of electricity that flows across the big wires that we see everywhere in North America now today.
Almost hard to believe that at one time it was one power line running to this station in downtown Sacramento. But that's all it took. Demand surges, there's money to be made, and utility companies see opportunity to invest in larger, more ambitious power plans.
There's a reason why the Monopoly board has a square that says the electric company on it. Electricity is sort of always thought of as a monopoly.
Energy economist James Bushnell says the rapid utility growth and expansion start exposing major vulnerabilities.
Good, my friend. Who's safe?
In the 1970s, oil and gas shortages, a government encouraging people to conserve, and a lack of competition in the utility market set the course for skyrocketing prices.
Demand all of a sudden wasn't growing at the rates people had forecast, and a lot of utilities found themselves with these super expensive, very large power plants and much less customer demand than they expected.
Shifting the financial burden onto consumers, resulting in sharp rate increases. To promote market competition and drive down energy costs, both state and federal governments incentivize smaller, independent producers to explore alternative energy options.
And they passed laws that basically said if you develop projects like that, the utility, the monopoly utility at the time, had to buy the power from those small independent power producers.
This leads to an explosion of development, including the world's largest wind farm along the Altamont Pass.
There was so much development of small power that the utilities found themselves sort of getting too much and having to idle their own power plants as a consequence of it. And so, although it did lead to a lot of innovation, it didn't really help lower prices.
As a result, power bills rise again during the 80s and into the 90s. By the mid-1990s, the state feels pressure to act, passing Assembly Bill 1890. This groundbreaking California reform is the first of its kind in the nation, aiming to lower utility prices by deregulating the industry and creating the California Independent System Operator to manage the grid. But the biggest energy crisis is looming: rolling blackouts, manufactured shortages, and a complete breakdown of market institutions.
I don't think California has been that forward-thinking in pulling all of it together and managing it well. There's been a lot of politics in it.
All right, Monica joining us now. It's really interesting to just look back and see how California really has been a pioneer when it comes to leading in energy and power. But I do want to ask you, the economist that you spoke with, did he make any connection between, some of this early development and higher upfront costs?
Well, the short answer is yes. James Bushnell, the UC Davis energy economist who we heard from in the story, said power prices would probably be lower if we hadn't made such an aggressive move into renewables 15 to 20 years ago. But because we were the first movers in this sector, that meant those upfront costs were going to be a little bit higher. But Alex, as we're going to hear in part 2 of this series, those renewables are in fact what may help to pull us into the future as demand starts to grow.
All right, Monica, and happy you mentioned that because we will have more of California's power struggle coming up tomorrow night right here on To The Point. Meteorologist Brendan Minchef explains how utilities and the state are innovating California's power grid. You can also stream this series right now, if you can't wait till tomorrow, on our ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app. Monica, as always, thank you so much.